Hey everyone, Alan Thrall here doing a very quick Q&A, quick meeting. I gotta get going. I'm gonna answer all the questions that I can in the time that I have available. I'll try to be as precise as possible and not ramble on. I'm also gonna play some B-roll of some recent training footage from the past few weeks so that you guys don't have to look at my mug for this whole 10, 15, 20-minute video. Oompa Loompa Strong says, does Untamed Strength do day passes or guest passes? Yes, $10 a day for a drop-in. Make sure you send an email to untamedstrength@gmail.com. Let me know when you wanna come in and we can make it happen. Sebasbonila 92, how do you improve bar path on squats? I have answered this question in a lot of my most recent videos. There are a lot of things that are gonna help improve your bar path. Should be in a straight vertical line over midfoot. The biggest thing that helped me with understanding that is breaking at my knees and my hips simultaneously, smoothly all the way down, and then standing back all the way up. I used to kick my hips back, squat down, and at the bottom my knees would shoot forward, and this would kind of move the bar path all around. So break at the knees and the hips simultaneously, which means bend your knees and bend over at the same time. 020312J says, why have you decided to stay at a body weight of 231 instead of continually gaining weight or increasing? I'm higher than 231 right now. I'm about 238-ish. I'm trying to gain a little bit of weight, but the reason I stay at around 230 is because I eat quite a bit of food, and it's enough to keep me at where I'm at. If I wanted to gain any more weight, I'd really have to stuff myself. I just don't have time for that, and I really don't want to be full, feeling like I'm gonna puke all day. Do you even lift? What's up, Mark? He asks, what's your daily schedule like? It's actually very boring. A lot of people say things like, I'd love to be a fly on the wall in the day in the life of Alan, or Alan, I want to come fly out to Sacramento and shadow you for a week to see what owning a gym is like. It's really not that exciting. Not to say that I don't enjoy it, but I wake up every morning pretty early before the sun. I cook breakfast every morning. If I'm gonna be away from my house all day, I'll pack all my food to take with me to the gym. I start out every morning answering a whole bunch of emails. I'll do computer stuff, bookkeeping, monitoring how much money I've been making, how much money I've been spending. There seems to always be bills to pay. From there, when I get to the gym, I'll organize a bit, take out the trash, check the bathroom, make sure it's clean, do that kind of stuff, and then I'm with clients all day. I have conditioning classes that I'll do. Aside from that, I'm either creating more content, recording videos, editing videos. That takes up a lot of time. And then I come home in the evening, I eat dinner, and I go to bed. M90 says, any tips on activate the glutes when squatting or deadlifting? I hardly ever feel in that area. Don't worry about activating anything. Just worry about performing the movement correctly and getting stronger. That's all you need to worry about. Continue putting weight on the bar and perform the movement correctly. Just by nature, some people are gonna deadlift with higher hips. That means you're gonna be a little bit more lower back and hamstring dominant. Some people are gonna have to deadlift with very low hips. They're gonna be a little bit more quad dominant. They might not feel it in their hamstrings. The same with the squat. Some people are gonna be a bit more vertical when performing the low bar squat, and some people are gonna have to bend over a hell of a lot more. So don't worry about where you're feeling it. Just perform the movement correctly and continue to get stronger. Freddie the Thunk says, best core activation exercises for the squat, bench, and deadlift. No core activation exercises are needed. Just make sure that while you're warming up, take the time to warm up to your working weight. Make sure you're practicing breathing and bracing your core throughout all the movements. I see a lot of people get under the bar and just kind of move mindlessly, and then once the weight gets heavy, then they'll start to focus a little bit more on breath. I would take every single set, every single rep leading up to your heavy weights to focus on breathing, bracing, and activating your core. The Lonely Wolf says, do you still see any benefits to using ass to grass squats as an assistance movement? No. I've explained why I've ditched the ass to grass method or technique or execution in some of my most recent videos, and I don't think it has any value as performing an assistance movement, and the main reason is that's my problem right now. That's what I'm trying to fix. I'm trying not to collapse down at the bottom. I'm trying not to squat too low. I'm trying not to jam my knees forward at the bottom of the squat, and if I'm trying that with the low bar squat and then I do some assistance afterwards and just bury that ass to grass, that's not helping me learn the movement. I'm just continuously doing what I'm trying to avoid doing. So no, practice the squat how you want to perform it and continue doing that. FC Rubel Kaba, how do you figure out optimal arm position on bench, best leg position on deadlifts, wider or narrow, and on and on and on? Okay, so when you're bench pressing, we want, once the bar touches your chest, your forearms should be vertical and perpendicular to the bar. We don't need an excessively wide grip, and we don't need excessively narrow grip to where your elbows are outside of your hands. This is just for general strength training purposes. I'm not talking about powerlifting where you might go wider to decrease the range of motion in order to lift the most amount of weight. I'm talking about general strength training purposes. And then from the side, we also want our forearms perpendicular. Elbows should be under, maybe slightly in front of the bar towards our belly button so we can press back over the shoulder joint. So that's how wide you should go, and that's gonna vary based on how much you tuck your elbows, how long your arms are, where you're touching on your body. Vertical, forearm position at the bottom when it touches your chest. And then for squats and deadlifts, I've already explained, you need to squat to correct depth, crease of the hips below the top of the kneecap, and you need to do so while maintaining a straight bar path over the middle of your foot. If you're doing those things, you will be in the correct body position regardless of how you're built. Refer to the 5-step deadlift setup video that I recently made, and if you're following those 5 steps, I don't care how you're built, tall, short, wide, narrow, fat, skinny, male, female, you will be in the correct starting position. Finn76, along with a bunch of other people, are asking, are you going to become a certified starting strength coach? Yes, that's the plan. I would like to. Eden123 Nahari, what would you do if a trainee of yours won't stop working with his ego? Friend that asks for help, fix their squat, keeps loading the weight, not hitting parallel. All right, this is a very common problem. Even with my clients, when I don't work with them on a daily basis, sometimes they'll do their own workouts on their own. And I've had, usually at the start, when I'm working with them, we're gonna do 3 sets or 4 sets of 5 with 185, and then 195, and then 205, basic linear progression. And they'll come back to me a week later, I'll say, how was your workout? And they'll say, it was good, I got 300 for one. And I'm like, what? Why are you doing 300 pounds? You should not be near there. I'm trying to get you good with 195 here. They just want to do more weight. So if it's a trainee of yours, you just have to explain to them that strength is a process. You have to be patient. You're in the gym to train strength, to train to get stronger. You're not in there to constantly test your strength. There is a time and place for that. And if it's a friend or if it's a peer, all you have to do is lead by example. You stick to your program, surpass them, get stronger than them, and they'll look to you and say, man, what are you doing that I'm not? And you say what I just said. I'm being patient, I'm not using my ego, and I'm using intelligent programming. Any good exercises to repair shoulder impingement, AC joint problems? There are a lot of questions in here that I really don't feel like I'm a credible source to answer. Some of them are medical questions. Don't ask me. But what I would suggest for any injuries that you have, there are a bunch of stuff about shoulder injuries, hip injuries, lower back injuries. You have to figure out what you can do right now. So a lot of times in the gym, guys will come up to me and say, hey bro, can you help me out? My shoulder hurts when I bench 225. And the first question, well, first I'll look at their mechanics. If they're benching correctly, then I'll say, does it hurt with 185? Does it hurt with 135? And if not, then we're gonna take it back and start there. Do what you can do. You have to stay behind the healing curve, which is what was said to me when I tweaked my shoulder a bit. And to go off that even further, again, just do what you can. If bench pressing hurts, try a board press, try a pin press, try a standing press, try a standing pin press. Figure out what you can do and continue doing that while it heals. Don't just stop doing everything and wait for it to heal. You've got to get a barbell back in your hands as soon as you can. Wayne Brewer says, how do you fix groin strains during sumo deadlifts? You stop doing sumo deadlifts, bring your stance in and do conventional deadlifts. Lane Ferd, my brother and I are thinking of opening a gym in our area because we don't have any gyms in our area that have a weightlifting or powerlifting friendly atmosphere. We have plenty of commercial gyms around, so we don't know how successful opening a gym would be. How do you think we should go about it in terms of gym pricing and a smooth kickoff? All right, I'm not trying to shatter your dreams here, but that is a terrible reason to open a business or a gym. Saying that because there's nothing like it in the area, that's like me saying, man, I really love waffles and there's no good waffle houses around here. I think I'm gonna open my own restaurant selling waffles. Just because I love waffles doesn't mean that I should open my own business selling waffles. Doesn't mean I know how to make waffles. Doesn't mean I know how to run a business. Doesn't mean that I want to be stuck in a kitchen making waffles all day. So just take that into consideration, dude. Now, as far as going about in terms of pricing to have a smooth kickoff, you need to figure out how much your facility costs. If you're going to rent a warehouse, you need to figure out how much your facility costs, and then you need to figure out how many people you can realistically fit in that facility. And from there, you would base that off of how much am I going to charge people. So if you have $1,000 lease, fairly cheap, $1,000 a month lease that you're stuck with, you look at it and you say, I could probably realistically fit 10 people in here. Then you're going to charge those 10 people $100 a month. Or you can say, I could probably fit 20 people in here. You're going to charge them $50 a month. So you just have to crunch some numbers. What I would suggest in the meantime is finding either a big garage, whether it's your garage, your parents' garage, a friend's garage, maybe even a rented shed, like storage facility, something very cheap. From there, try to build up some clientele. Try to get people from around town to come and train. You got to get some equipment, fill the garage or the shack up with equipment, and try to build up some clientele. And then once you have some members that are actually interested, some people that are actually interested, then you can jump off and get a bigger facility and run from there. Grim Grom Grum says, what are your thoughts on a ketogenic diet? And a lot of other people ask about ketogenic diets. I am not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist. What I can tell a 16-year-old kid who's 110 pounds how to gain weight. I feel like I'm credible in that area, but I'm not a nutritionist. What I'll say about the ketogenic diet is that I don't think it's optimal for performance, and even past that. I've never done it, but I just feel like it's not very good for digestive health. I think you need to eat some carbohydrates. Jessica Meyer says, I realize that I'm shifting more towards one leg during my squat. What should I do? Don't freak out. This is extremely common. Rarely do I see people with perfectly symmetrical movement, perfectly symmetrical body. It's not something to worry about. I shift a little bit when I squat too. What I would suggest is a very simple answer. If you are shifting to your right side every time you squat, think about pushing harder on your right side to prevent yourself from shifting to your right. That's as simple as that. You just have to think about what you're doing wrong and make sure you're not doing it. So you just have to spend more time practicing pushing off of the side that you keep shifting to. Over time, it should correct itself. I'm not going to give you any stretching or one-legged strengthening exercises to fix it. You just need to fix it during the movement. And with that, there are a lot of people who almost want something to be wrong with them. They'll say, Alan, I keep shifting in my squat, and I'll watch and I'll say, hey, it's not that bad. No, but I'm shifting, you can see it. And I'll say, well, do you have any pain? Do you have any hip pain, any back pain? No, well then you're fine. Fro for days, are you training for a powerlifting meet? If so, when? Yeah, I'm training for Boss of NorCal, May 28th at Boss Barbell in Mountain View, California. Some odd names says I do sumo deadlift because it's hard for me to get nice back position during conventional because I have short arms. No. I promise you can bend over and pick up a weight, okay? You can do a conventional deadlift. It might be uncomfortable. You might not have a perfect body type for a strong deadlift, but that doesn't mean that you can't get your deadlift stronger. So I don't want to hear it. You can conventional deadlift. The Barbell Resistance says, in all seriousness, what is the biggest penis you've seen in real life, and what was the context? Well, okay, let me start here. His name was favorite metal band currently and all time. That's hard to say. Favorite band of all time, metal band, is Metallica because it was the first band that I started listening to. Right now, I don't know, man. It's usually whatever is playing in the gym. It's usually Pantera, Slayer, or we got some guys at Amon Amarth or At the Gates or something like that. Camille Joe Peck says, hey Alan, love your videos. Are there any differences in training for female athletes? Yeah, there's a video, I think it's a Q&A that Mark Ripito did, and it's one of his Q&A videos. Anyways, he talks about how men are neuromuscularly more efficient, if that is the correct term that I'm going to use, and they can tap into their neuromuscular potential to a higher degree. So they might be able to perform 95% of their neuromuscular potential, whereas women might only be able to tap into 80% of neuromuscular potential. So he says that women should be lifting heavier weights. Men, he might suggest 5s, women, he would suggest 3s at a higher weight, because a 5 rep max for me is going to be almost a true 5 rep max. A 5 rep max for a female athlete might not really be a 5 rep max of her overall potential. It might be 80% of her 5 rep max. Those numbers aren't black and white, but I'm just kind of getting you to understand this. So women should lift heavier weight for lower reps so that they can get closer to that neuromuscular ceiling. Because if you want to get stronger, you've got to lift heavy weights. No code 0101. If we can only lift 2 times a week, what would it look like? Thanks. Or if I could only lift 2 times a week, what would it look like? I would squat both days. I would deadlift one of the days, and then, all right, here's what I do. Day 1, I would squat, I would bench heavy, and then I would do some lighter overhead press. Day 2, I would squat again, I would do some heavy pressing, and then some lighter bench presses. And then after that, I would do either a power clean or a light deadlift, and I'll finish off with some pull-ups. Ben Padmore says, will squats improve my deadlift? To an extent, depends on where you're at in your training. If you're a novice and you just started out, getting stronger with the squat will improve your deadlift. For me, I'm gonna need to deadlift a lot more to get better at the deadlift. My squat won't have an exact carryover. It's easy to get a weak person stronger. It's a little bit more difficult to get a stronger person even stronger. Yogi lifts, do you sit down to wipe or stand up to wipe? I don't have time to wipe. Sarah Zandy says, what was your job before the gym and was it hard to leave? I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. Once I got out, I was bussing tables at a steakhouse right before I opened up Untamed Strength, and I was fired because I refused to shave my beard. Dear Hime, scoliosis here. I've had to do high bar squats because of this. First off, I disagree that you should be doing high bar squats if you have scoliosis. High bar squats, putting the bar right on top of your traps, is gonna cause a lot of compression down on your curved spine. Now I don't know if it's lateral curve or if it goes the other way, like hyperlordosis. But anyways, that's gonna cause a lot of compression if the bar's right on your back, right on your spine. I would put the bar across your back in a low bar squat. And then she goes on to ask, how can I know if I'm at the right depth? Any tips? Yeah, you have to, I would suggest recording yourself, getting depth, watching the recording and saying, okay, I'm good, I just need to keep that there. It's just gonna take a lot of reps and a lot of practice to actually be able to feel it. Once you're squatting to depth, you're gonna feel your adductors, your hamstrings. If you're performing a low bar squat, you're gonna feel all those muscles lengthen, and then there's gonna be a natural rebound that happens, and that's the natural bounce that occurs. So you're bouncing off of your muscles, as my coach Austin Brocky explains. You're bouncing off the muscles, you're not bouncing off of your joints. So you'll be able to feel that depth. It's gonna take a lot of practice to get it right every time. I still can't get it right every time. Andreas BM, if a small girl is too weak to deadlift and squat with just the barbell, what's the alternative? You need to get a training barbell. They have like 5 kilo barbells. And if you don't have one of those, then just doing general strength training, if they're that weak, is gonna help. Pushing a heavy sled, dragging a heavy sled, picking up a sandbag, carrying it, farmer's walks. Again, it's very easy to get a weak person stronger. I can see the magic. Says you posted a video not long ago about how you suffered from your knees collapsing forward at the bottom of the squat, shot your ass back instead of up. You didn't say how you sorted it. Yeah, sure I did. I used to sit my hips back and keep my knees back, sit my hips back, and then at the bottom, because I was squatting so low, my knees would slam forward and then I'd rock back. So my knees would slam forward and then shoot back, and that was causing that good morning squat. So the solution would be to break at the hips, bend over, and bend my knees at the same time. Knees and hips bend simultaneously for a nice fluid squat down and up. Barbell straight vertical path over the middle of your foot. Lord Swag of B14 says, I sometimes get cramping pains in my calves when squatting. The barbell is probably shifting forward, so you need to fix your bar path. What I'm assuming happens if your calves are cramping, you're probably crunching forward onto your toes, and just that act of lifting your heels flexes your calves, right? That's a calf raise. So under a weight, you're probably shifting forward on your toes. Fix your bar path, try to get your feet flat on the ground. Sora's strength, what do you feel is the strength limit for a person who's a natural lifter? I don't take any supplements. My progress has declined over the past few years. All right, Sora's, I looked at your profile. You're a really big dude. You're a pretty strong guy. You have a 465 deadlift for 2 reps. You have not hit your strength potential. keep lifting. Don't worry about it. I don't know what your limit's gonna be. IHM 111. Will you go to my latest post and critique my deficit deadlifts? Yeah, sure. See if you guys can see here. Don't know if that's coming up. All right, so here's what you're doing. On the way down, the barbell keeps hitting your knees and the barbell is getting pitched forward. You're starting with the bar over your toes. So every single set, you see your hips swing up, the barbell swings back towards your body. So to fix that, you need to fix your descent. I recently made a video about how to lower the barbell during the deadlift. You need to get the bar over the middle of your foot and pull it straight up in a straight line. Do not let it swing towards your body. You're starting with the barbell over your toes. Other than that, your mechanics look pretty dang good. Yeah, that's it. I have that problem. It's harder with deficit deadlifts because you feel like you have to squat down lower and then the bar just gets pushed forward the lower you squat. So I understand. M, a lift strength athlete, good steak or good sushi? Good steak all the way. R, Bombig Allen, what's something you believe helps staying consistent regarding diet and lifting? Discipline is what keeps you consistent. First off, you have to enjoy doing it. And if you enjoy doing it, it won't be that hard to stick to a plan. Now, what you also have to do is make lifting a part of your schedule. You have to schedule it as an appointment and you can't miss out. There's no option to miss out. You're not gonna miss a day of work because it's not an option. So you have to schedule in your training session. If you lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you have to stick to that routine. Nothing else can impede on that. You can't just go to the gym whenever you have time because you're not gonna make time. If I was to only lift when I had time, I would probably lift once a week. You have to schedule it into your daily routine. Don't treat training as a luxury that you can do whenever you have some free time. You have to make it mandatory. Jack the Offbeat. My other lifts have been increasing, but my overhead press has been stuck for a while. Tips or favorite accessory movements I should add? Bench press will help your press. This next question is about how to maintain their bench strength if they can't bench because of an injury. Gain about 20 pounds of body weight, and by the time you come back to benching, you'll probably be able to bench more than you could when you were 20 pounds lighter.